Good evening, everyone. Chris Schultz, along with Gary Hoff, FridayNightVictors.com. We are looking at week 2 of the playoffs, which would be the district finals. Gary, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Just taped our SMCC Hudson pregame here at Nash Icon. Nice 20-minute long segment. If you listen to 98.3, you might hear it at some point. So, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, big thanks to 98.3 Nash Icon for allowing us to be in the booth and recording this.
And thank you to Lester Marks, the voice of 98.3.
Yep, we appreciate that.
Allowing us to use some of his time here.
Thank you, Lester. Let's jump into our first game. It's going to be the game you're calling all the way down in Hillsdale, which is
or Hudson, really.
I'm sorry, yeah,
I'm not
Hudson.
Going to go to Hillsdale.
Southwest. Way out there, it is 6-4 SMCC against 9-1 Hudson. Give us your thoughts on this game, Gary.
Battle of two great programs. They've kind of, I don't want to say mirrored each other, but they kind of have mirrored each other in the amount of playoff wins over the years. Hudson's won a state title in 2010, CC in 2014. They've been to Ford Field. They've been to semifinals, regional titles. So both these teams have a lot of success, both Coach Kip and Coach Luma, especially Luma's been there for quite a while. Similar offenses. I know you love the full house tee, Chris. And so it's going to be, it's a relatively fast game like last week. SMCC beat Madison. It was a quick game over in about an hour and a half or so. And I anticipate this game going the same way. Both teams wanting to run the ball. SMCC won't pass one time if they don't have to, and I don't think Hudson will either. So this is just a great contest with two great programs. They've met once before in 2009 with Hudson winning that game 21-19 and in the playoffs as well. And this is just a big contest that I think the fans and the players are going to be up for. And this is a big hurdle to get to that regional final. And this is a big roadblock for both teams.
Sure, and there's some similarities between the teams. Obviously, they run the tee. Both teams will run 3 backs. They'll spread the ball around. I think maybe the difference is Hudson's really big up front.
Right.
They've got some big guys. Their quarterback's also 6'5". Not that they're going to throw the ball, but I assume he will run the ball a little bit.
Hey, I don't think he doesn't like to run the ball. I don't think that much. I do believe he can throw the ball. From what I've read and what I've heard, they typically don't have to, but I believe he can run the ball, or throw the ball.
Right.
And I would anticipate him maybe throwing it 5 to 8 times this game. I could be way off. They might never throw it. If they get 5 yards of carry, they're never going to throw the ball.
Right. I think, and we've talked about this a lot with CC and teams that run the tee. You can't get behind the sticks on first down or second down. But I think it should be a good game. I would say Hudson's played a tough schedule. They've played 7 playoff teams. They've won 6 of those games. Their lone loss was to Ida back in week 6-ish, I think it was, 16-0 in a game that Ida, got on them early and kind of held on and won that game. But I really think it's going to come down to ball control and turnovers. Who can sustain the drives. CC a lot of times depends on picking up that 4th down and short, and then don't turn the ball over. Your prediction?
Well, whoever blocks and tackles better. I wrote the article on the website. Whoever blocks and tackles better is going to win, and that's the case in 90% of high school football games, or football in general. Close game. I'm going with my Falcons. I'm not backing off them now. I won't give a score yet, but I got the Falcons winning in a nail biter. I think it's going to be a close game. I think SMCC's defense might be a little bit better. I think they might be a little bit more prepared from the Huron League and Palma, Westphalia, and Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. They played a very tough schedule. Going with the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to go with SMCC as well. I think it's the schedule. I think Hudson's a fine football program. I think what you're starting to see is the SMCC team that a lot of people were thinking was going to be really good next year are starting to be really good this year. And who knows what happens from here, but I think CC wins this game.
And we're probably the only two picking SMCC. I think everybody I've seen has picked Hudson to win that game, and that's okay. They are 9-1, so.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so next game is the game I'm going to be at, and that will be the champions of the Huron League, the Riverview Pirates, traveling over to Gibraltar Carlson to play the 9-1 Marauders, who finished in 2nd place in the Downriver League. Their lone loss was that loss against Wyandotte Roosevelt, who's still alive in the playoffs as well. Gary, you got some thoughts on this game? This is
Great game.
T versus T again.
Yeah, this is beautiful for me, not so much for you. But this is what everyone's been clamoring for. Certainly the Riverview folks. Maybe they wanted Carlson to lose and not have to face them. But I don't think they thought Carlson would lose in the first round of the playoffs. So they were anticipating Carlson being there. Although they did struggle. You were at the game. No, you weren't at the game.
No,
you were at the Bedford game.
Well, and what happened with that game was Jalen Franklin went out of the game with an injury, which was probably the best possible thing that could have happened to Huron.
Right.
And Huron, jumps out at halftime. I believe it was 12-7. Then Huron returns the kickoff to start the third quarter. They go up 19-7, and here comes Jalen Franklin back. And their star, he's their star. He's going to the University of Wisconsin for a reason. He's an excellent athlete. He scored on a long touchdown run in the first quarter. He scores on another one in the second quarter, and then you've got to make sure you spy him, so to speak, to make sure you got a guy on him, and that opens up the rest of the running game. So we called this early on, at least I did. I said, I think Riverview can beat Carlson. I said that about week 5 or 6, that I think they're capable of doing that. Yep. I think it comes down to star power. They have good teams. Whose star is going to step up bigger? Right. The star for Carlson is Jalen Franklin, and the star for, if they have a star for Riverview, is Cam Rogers. Right. Tell us a little bit about Cam.
Well, he's an outstanding back. He's started there for 3 years, I believe. Last year he was, though the injury bug bit him bad last year. Right. But he's been great ever since he's been there. And
he's very good defensively, too. Right. He's their leading tackler on defense. So he's not just like he just runs the ball, but he is a bruising runner. Not that he's the only guy, but talking about that star power, I think he's the guy for them.
We talked about Carlson's quarterback. Riverview has a darn good quarterback, too, in Dominic Wood, right?
He's just a junior.
He's no slouch either. He can contribute in this game, and he might be a big factor, certainly on offense, because he can do a lot of things. And a lot of times the quarterback of the T, you don't think of it being a quarterback-driven offense, but the better your quarterback is in that T, the better your team is. Period.
Right.
And so he's an X factor, I think, for them. And yeah, this is a great game, marquee game, I think.
It should be a lot like the SMCC Hudson game. It's going to be the same thing. Who can control the long, sustained drives and not turn the ball over? Right. It looks like it's going to be a dry evening. They're playing on the turf, but it should be a little cold. Your prediction, or who do you think is going to win here?
Yeah,
I know which way I'm going. I've seen both teams.
Yes, and so have I. Well, I've seen them both.
I should say they scrimmaged
one time, and they did scrimmage, and
Riverview
did well.
Scrimmages are different because you're looking at things, but Riverview ran the ball on them. Now that was 10 weeks ago, but.
Well, a lot of times in scrimmages you don't show everything, but it's the T. I mean, how many plays do they have?
Yeah,
they only have like 3 or 4 plays each. It's kind of jokingly, but. They're going to run the same play over and over if it's working. So, I'm going to go with the Pirates in Riverview. I don't know which way you're going. I'm going with Riverview. I saw the manhandle SMCC, and they haven't looked back. And, I'm going with Riverview. It can go either way, of course. I sound like I'm not too sure of my pick, but it's going to be a great game. And I think the Pirates, their offensive line, maybe just a little bit better than Carlson's, and I think that gets the job done.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think the difference will be, I think Riverview's defense is a little bit better than Carlson's. I'm going to go with Riverview, although I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Franklin takes the game over and wins it. Obviously, it's a team game, but he's a game changer like that. Sure. But I'm going to go with the Riverview Pirates.
All right, good.
I think that's the way to go.
All right.
Let's dive on over to, this is going to be a Saturday game at 1 o'clock. This is the Ida Blue Streaks in a rematch against the Algonac Muskrats. They play in the Swamp.
The Swamp.
Oh, okay.
Rematch of last year, as you said, and Algonac won the game last year. Kind of a little bit of surprising to me. I thought Ida would go there and win that game.
Yeah, and it was a 38-22 victory for Algonac, and I don't know if it was.
Ida fumbled 7 times.
Yeah, that's
come on. That's a huge difference.
You get in that swamp, it gets a little slippery. I guess.
All slippery. But Algonac's a good football team. They were great last year. They're very good this year. They beat who I didn't think they were going to win their first round game, was against Ann Arbor, Gabriel Richard, and they beat them 20-3. And they lay their hat on their defense. Last year they had an outstanding defense. This year's no different. And this is just a tough matchup for Ida. Having to go all the way to Algonac. That's a football crazy town up there. Certainly now with them Algonac being good. You know, you can't fumble the ball 7 times. I think if they control the ball, they're going to be in the game. But I kind of like Algonac in this one. They're at home. They're playing outstanding. Although Ida, they just keep finding ways to win, and that win against Hudson, that shows me that they can beat very good teams. So we'll see. Coach Potter's got his Blue Streaks outperforming what we thought they were going to do.
Well, and they had that big win this year.
Mm-hmm.
Their biggest win of the season was the 16-0 win over Hudson. They're going to face a diverse offense. You know, Algonac's going to do a little bit of everything. They're going to run the power game. They're going to a double wing. They do a little pistol or whatever it is. I think it's a tough game to ask the Blue Streaks to win. But I am going to go with Ida in this game. I think they're going to. There's something about Ida.
Yeah.
You know, people have been saying we're disrespecting them. We're not disrespecting them at all. We just thought
I saw that comment. I'm like,
we just thought they had to rebuild.
Yeah.
And
everybody thought that.
And you know, maybe they just reloaded. So I'm going to go with Ida in that game.
Okay.
So that's all the teams that we were covering from our 14 teams. But we were going to add a bonus in there this week, and we won't talk much about it because I know you don't know much about this next team. But the Riverview Gabriel Richard Pioneers, where my daughter goes to high school there, and she's a freshman there. And Coach Thomas Michelson's team is 9-1.
Yeah,
they are going to play 10-0. Madison Heights, Madison.
Go Pioneers!
Who has a heck of a team this year. Richard's lone loss this year was a 21-0 game to Bloomfield Hills Cranbrook, who is still alive in Division 4.
They're good.
And their lone loss is the Divine Child. So a good team. And Richard didn't play well in the first half. They were down 21-0, but they made adjustments. Any thoughts on this game? I mean, you know, Madison Heights, Madison, you've been talking about them a lot this year, behind the scenes, you and I.
Hudson and SMCC are big Riverview Gabriel Richard fans this week. They want them to
that is the other game.
Yeah.
Those two districts will match up in the
whoever
regional.
Wins, they'll play each other in the regional final. And Madison Heights Madison is one of the top teams in Division 7. But I think Richard has outperformed. You know, they're not known as a football powerhouse. I'm not going to say they're a football powerhouse, but they're 9-1 this year. They know how to win games.
Yeah, and they're a relatively young team.
Right.
There's a couple players I want to talk about. One player that jumped out to me on the football field, and then when you see him in the weight room, is junior Nevin Hughes. He plays running back for them. He's got some good quicks, but he's durable because he plays defensive end on the other side. Their quarterback is Devin Gleason. He's a senior. Another senior that's a very good player, playing well on both sides of the ball, is Eric Wigington. And then one other player I wanted to mention is senior Devin Slaughter. He's outstanding on the defensive line. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I believe his dad is the defensive coordinator. But they have a solid team.
Right.
With that said, they're playing Madison Heights Madison, and the key to Madison Heights Madison is quarterback Austin Brown. He's thrown for 2,000 yards and 24 touchdowns. He's also their leading rusher. The big thing about him is he's just a junior, but he was the starting quarterback for Novi Catholic Central as a freshman and a sophomore last year before he transferred back to his home district where his father is the athletic director. But they have athletes all over the field. Their biggest win of the year, it was a win over Marine City, which surprised the heck out of me that they beat that team.
You know, they have some great wins. You mentioned one, but they also have some games where you expect them to win by 30, and they win by 4 or 1. Yeah, so
they had 2 of those games that were out there to where they struggled.
And even last week, I thought they should have beat their opening round playoff game by quite a bit, but they only won by 2 touchdowns. I want to say it was like 14-0 or something like that. So, you know, that's.
Give me a pick, Coach. We got to wrap up.
I got to go with Madison in this game, but, you know, what team shows up? I don't know for Madison. I'm going with Madison, but I am pulling for the Pioneers of Richard.
I'm going to pull for the Pioneers of Riverview Gable Richard as well, but I'm going to go with Madison Heights Madison. I think they're a little bit better team. Well, that's our show. We got to wrap it up. FridayNightVictors.com. We thank everybody for watching.
Thank you.